Um, should I start now, Suleiman? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, okay. So, um, Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to a new Quran study. And God willing, we're gonna read from Surah 111, Thorns. We're gonna finish the verses. I'm gonna start from the verse 4, number 4. I seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected. Also, his wife, who led the persecution, she will be resurrected with a rope of thorns around her neck. So this verse, as we see, is talking about. In general, the surah in general is talking about the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad. His name was Abu Lahab, and this verse specifically talking about his wife, who led the persecution against the Prophet Muhammad and the believers. I think by using, her influence, words, or efforts to turn people away from the truth on that time, and to strengthen the opposition against the Prophet. And this is, as we know, it's wrong. Persecuting the believers it's a crime. And as we see in Surah 85, verse 10, God mentioned that. He said, "Surely those who persecute the believing men and women, then fail to repent, have incurred the retribution of Gehenna, they have incurred the retribution of burning." It's very clear verse, and so this woman, she was among them, and we're gonna see her retribution. Here in the last verse, God says she will be resurrected with a rope of thorns around her neck. So here, the thorn around her neck, it's a symbol, of the heavy burden of her own evil deeds that she did to the Prophet. And in her life, she used, all her effort to harm and mislead others. And now God has decreed that she will bear a painful punishment, that reflects exactly, the harm she caused by mentioning, a symbol of thorns around her neck. Okay, so move on this next surah, 112, absoluteness, al-Ikhlas. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Proclaim He is the one and only God, the absolute God. As we see here in the surah, it starts with the word proclaim, and that means encouraging believers to openly declare that God is the one and only true God. And it means, sharing the truth with others and affirming our faith and submission by inviting everyone to worship God alone. And This declaration shows that there is no other God or power beside God, by proclaiming He's the one and only God and the absolute God. So, by declaring that, our worship and trust must be devoted only to God alone. And as we know, other people, most of the people elevate things, above God, such as their ego, personal opinions, traditions, prophets and saints, etc. Um, they are elevating these things to a statue that should belong only to God alone. Um, I'm talking about idol worship, which is um, wrong. Move on to next verse. Never did he beget, nor was he begotten. Here we see that God mentioned that he does not have children and was never born. And this tells us that God is completely different from all living things which are born or have parents. So God is not like humans, of course, or any creature that comes from someone else. So he does not need anyone to exist, and he does not depend on anything else. MashaAllah. So this statement shows that God is unique, eternal, and unlike anything in creation. God is the only one with no partners, no beginning, and no end, the absolute, mashallah. And this verse rejects also the idea of the Trinity as well. None equals him. So, mashallah, this phrase, none equals him, shows that God is completely unique and incomparable to anything or anyone, mashallah. And this means there is nothing in the universe, all universe, within human, creature, or any form of power that can be compared to God in any way. So, subhanallah, is beyond human understanding, also free from limitations, and perfect in every aspect, subhanallah. Next surah, 113, Daybreak, Al-Falaq. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Okay. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of daybreak. Here, it means asking God for protection from anything bad or harmful. So the Lord of daybreak refers to God as the one who brings, the light of a new day, which symbolize hope and safety, mashallah. And by seeing this, we are trusting that only God can keep us safe and give us peace from anything that can harm us. Verse 2, from the evils among his creations. So here, this verse means that, that we should ask protections from God, from the harmful things that He has created, like bad people, for example, harmful uh, creatures, or anything that cause us harm. Okay, so it reminds us that God is the one who has control over all things, and only He can protect us from the dangers in the world around us. From the evils of darkness as it falls. So here, mashallah, here the verse refers to seeking God's protection from the harmful things that can happen, specifically during the night or in times of darkness. So as we know, that during dark times, physical evils can, appears, may, provoke dangers like criminal activities, for example, accidents and injuries during, during the darkness because of the poor visibility. Sometimes also treats of wild animals, for example, in the forest or, outside the cities, or dangerous situations in general, at night. So darkness can also make people feel more, isolated and vulnerable, increasing the risk of harm. And that's why, here we should seek God's protection from that. Okay, so next verse. From the evils of the troublemakers. So here, we know that the troublemakers are the people who, cause harm, or create problems, or, disturb peace in general. I want to give examples very short. For example, people who create, confusion, harm reputations, or cause conflict through, false information. Also, there is some type of people who are abusers, who harm others physically, emotionally, causing pain and suffering. Those are troublemakers too. Also, people who encourage violence, fights, wars, leading to harm and destruction. Also, they are troublemakers. Like oppressors also, or dictators who abuse their power, for example, causing injustice and suffering to others. Those are troublemakers too. So God mentioned that, so we can seek protection from God from all this type of people, in order to be safe from their harmful actions. Okay, so verse number 5, from the evils of the envious when the envy. Here there is another type of evil. So this verse refers to seeking protection from the harm caused by people who feel jealous, or envious. So the envy can lead people to wish harm, or bad things upon others. For example, envious people can really hurt others, and in different ways. So their envy can lead to, do, for example, different things. I want to mention some of them, like, for example, when people get envious, they spread rumors or lies about people, to damage people's reputation out of jealousy, of course. Also, they can try to stop others from, achieving their goals or, happiness. Uh, Also, they can lead to, for example, arguments or division between people. They can make, for example, negative comments or actions. They can make others feel bad about themselves, so they can feel better. Those people are really sick, and God, uh, you know, condemned jealousy, as we know in Quran. And here we see, that God mentioned this type of people, so we can be protected from them. So in general, in this surah, Surah Al-Falaq, help us, really recognize the different types of evil, that exist around us, and to turn to God for protection against all forms of evil. MashaAllah. So next surah, it's the last surah of the Quran, number 114, people, Surah An-Nas. And in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the people. Here we see that the word Lord, refers to someone who has authority, control, or power over, something or someone. And in Quran, the Lord refers to God as the creator, the sustainer, and provider for all things. So as we know, mashallah, God is the one who takes care of people and guides everything in the universe, and in like uh, everything, mashallah. So when we say Lord of the people, we acknowledge that God is the ruler, the protector, and um, the one who guides all humanity. And the word seeking refuge, here means turning to God, for help and asking His protection. It is a way, of acknowledging that only God has the power to protect and keep us safe. The King of the people. The King of the people here means that God is the sovereign ruler and authority over all humanity, and He is the ultimate king, and no one else, have the true power or control, over the people except Him. Um, so this shows that God is in complete charge of everything and all people, regardless of their status or position, everything under His rule. For example, kings, if we see the kings as an example of this world, rule over their countries, but their power is limited compared to the absolute power of God, because He's the true king of all people and creation, regardless of their status or position. They are all under His rule, mashallah. The God of the people. The God of the people here means that God is the only true and worthy of worship. For example, unlike things or concepts that people might falsely worship, such as wealth, power, fame, or idols. Here, God alone has the power to create, sustain and control everything in existence. So He's the only one, really deserving our complete devotion and trust and gratitude, because He's the source of all blessings and the only one who can truly guide and protect us. That's the meaning of God of the people. MashaAllah, He's the one who's worthy to be worshipped. Surah 4, verse 4, sorry, from the evils of sneaky whispers. So mashallah, here I noticed that the last surah, the previous surah Al-Falaq, warns us about physical dangers, as we saw, or visible evils. And here we see that in this surah it teaches us to seek protection from hidden dangers, means evil thoughts and sneaky whispers that can affect our hearts and minds. So mashallah, here these whispers, in this surah, in this verse, sorry, could, represent negative thoughts, temptations from Satan, or, the jinn companions, as we know, they whisper also, negative thoughts, or maybe, or even people, who try to lead us astray by, putting doubt, confusion, or encouraging us to do wrong things. For example, they can be also, a source of whisper. So this, harmful whispers may come in the form of, for example, bad advice, whispers of fear, or sometimes pride, or, as encouragement to act against God's commands. So that's why God, teach us to seek refuge to God from those sneaky whispers, who whisper into the chest of the people. So as we see in the previous verse, it refers to the evil whispers that affect a person's inner thoughts and feelings and intentions. So these whispers, it can be from other people or from the jinn companion, Satan, and it quietly influences a person's heart and mind, planting, harmful ideas, doubts, or temptations. And it can make someone feel, for example, anxious, jealous, angry, or even lead them to doubt their faith or submission, for example. So this verse really show how these hidden whispers can deeply affect us without, feeling it, and pay attention to it, and shows, the need to seek protection from God from all this. And these sneaky whispers often come when people are feeling weak, alone or confused. Specifically, they tend to appear in moments of fear, stress, or sadness. Doubts and negative thoughts can easily take, over. So we should always remember that, specifically in those times. be they of the jinns or the people. So here in this verse, these bad whispers can come, as we know, from both jinns or people around us. So it means that, harmful thoughts or bad ideas can come from two sources: the jinns, the invisible, creature, the jinn companion. As we know, everyone has his own jinn companion whispering to him, and the people around us. So the jinn can whisper in our, hearts, making us doubt God, feel afraid, get angry, and commit sins without realizing it. For example, someone might, suddenly feel lazy to do his prayer, get random ideas, like bad ideas, or feeling hopeless, for example. So that could be from the jinn. And at the same time, people can also act as whispers. As we know, for example, if you have a friend might, secretly encourage you to do, something wrong, like lying, cheating, gossiping, or leaving your submission, for example, putting doubt on you. So, this um, so these both sources can harm us really without us noticing, which is why we ask God for His protection. I'm going to read the footnote here. Thus, the total occurrence of crucial word God, Allah throughout the Quran is 2698, multiple of 19. The reader can ascertain the accuracy of this total by randomly checking the numbers of the word God at the bottom of any pages in this book. Additionally, if one adds the verse numbers wherever the word God occurs, the total comes to a number multiple of 19. Details of the Quran's unique mathematical composition are given in appendices 1, 2, 24, 25, 26, and 29. So, mashallah, as we see here in these footnotes, it shows the mathematical miracle of the Quran related to the word God. And this shows how the Quran is really amazing and mathematically structured in a way that's hard to, to replicate, mashallah. So, with this surah, we finished the Quran, mashallah. And I want to mention something remarkable about the last surahs we just read, the last chapter of the Quran. It reminds us of the, constant battle against evil, whether it comes from unseen forces like Satan, jinns, or harmful people around us. And by placing it at the end, of the Quran, I think it teaches us that, after receiving the guidance from God, our most important, task is to seek His protection. And this surahs, shows that we are weak on our own, and we always need God to guard our heart and minds from negative thoughts and temptations. And it ends the Quran with a powerful message: is that the true strength comes from, relying on God alone, not ourselves. And we need always, turn to God for safety and guidance in every part of our life. MashaAllah. So, inshallah, we're gonna start the Quran from the beginning. Surah um, Surah Al-Fatiha, the key. Okay. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Um, so, inshallah, we're gonna study verse by verse, inshallah. So, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. So this, as we know, all of us, this is the foundation of all actions in our life, you know, of a life of a believer. So, mashallah, everything begins in the name of God. And as we know, it's a declaration of submission, you know, that acknowledging that no action has only, I mean, has only value unless it is initiated with God's permission, help, and blessings. So, by starting with this phrase, we remind ourselves that we are not in control but God is in control, mashallah. And we see here also the two divine attributes mentioned, the most gracious and the most merciful. Here, it shows God's mercy, and the difference between the two names is profound. We see that the most gracious here describe God's mercy that encompasses all creation, whether believers or disbelievers, humans or animals, and it is a universal mercy. For example, the sunlight that benefits everyone, regardless of their faith or deeds. And the other name is the most merciful. I think it's referred to specific mercy, special mercy, reserved for those who seek Him or believe in Him and follow His guidance. And it is a special care that God extends to those who choose the right path. MashaAllah. Verse 2, Praise be to God, Lord of the universe. So here we see all praise, whether we realize it or not, belongs only to God. So in our life, everything that happens, whether good or seemingly bad, deserves praise for God, because sometimes His plan is perfect, and even we don't He's always, God's plan is always perfect. Sorry, but sometimes we don't understand it. So we should always be thankful and give praises to God. And here, the phrase "Lord of the Universe," here it's powerful and it means a lot of things. For example, it means that God is the owner of everything that exists and the sustainer, who feeds, who provides, who give everything its existence. The controller, that nothing happens except by His will. Also, He's the guardian. He's the one who protects us from every creation. Um, for example, if we struggle with worry, or anything, this is a verse that reminds us, that we should trust in God and the one who controls the galaxies, uh, and we should submit and trust in Him. Verse number 3, most gracious, most merciful. So here we see that God repeats again, these two names, and it is a reminder for us that do not fear me. That's like God is saying that do not fear me as a harsh ruler. I am the most gracious. I give you without you asking. I'm the most gracious. I forgive you when you sin. When you ask forgiveness, I forgive you. It means God is so merciful, and He's not, even though he's the king. He's he has the absolute control of everything, but he's really kind and towards his servants, mashallah. That's assuring the believers that really, he's so merciful and, and gracious, most gracious. Master of the day of judgment. So we see here that this verse shifts from mercy, to ultimate authority, and that reminds us that although God is merciful, He is also the judge. Every single human being, rich or poor, powerful or weak, will stand alone before Him. No helper, no intercessor, no excuse will work, unless God wills it. MashaAllah. Verse 5, you alone we worship, you alone we ask for help. So here it is, a declaration of absolute submission. It means that, like, I have no other master but you, God. I have no other reliance but you, God. I do not, ask humans. I just ask you, God, like that. And when we mention that you alone, we ask for help, this eliminates any, reliance on humans or jobs or wealth or power. All help comes only from God. MashaAllah. Verse 6, guide us in the right path. So here it shows that even if you have faith, you can still go astray without God's continuous guidance. So it's very important to keep asking God for guidance every single, day. By asking guidance, we are, surrendering our free will and saying like, God, I do not know the right path without you. Keep guiding me every second. I need it. I need that. So, for example, every time we feel lost, confused, or hopeless, this verse reminds us to ask God for guidance. Every day, every single day. And verse 7, the path of those who you blessed, not of those who have deserved wrath, nor of the strayers. So here we see that there is a three category of people: those who you blessed, right? And this refers to those who submitted fully to God alone, like the prophets, the believers, and sincere believers. And the number 2 is those who have deserved wrath, and this refers to those who knew the truth but rejected it due to arrogance. And the third category is the strayers, and it's those who were simply, misguided due to ignorance. So we learn here that, guidance is not automatic. You must ask God every day for guidance, and uh, we know that we can easily fall into arrogance or misguidance without realizing it. So staying on the right path requires continuous divine intervention and guidance. Now we're gonna read the footnote. God willing. Okay. The first footnote says the first verse in the Quran represents the foundation upon which a superhuman 19-based mathematical miracle is built. This important statement consists of 19 Arabic letters, and every word in it occurs in the whole Quran, in multiples of 19. See Appendix 1 and 29 for the details. Surah 1 is God's gift to use to establish contact with Him through the daily contact prayers. This fact is supported by an earth-shattering, simple to understand, but impossible to imitate mathematical composition that challenges the greatest mathematicians on earth and stamps them. It is far beyond human capabilities. The surah number followed by the numbers of verses next to each other give 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This number is a multiple of 19. If we substitute the number of letters per verse in place of the verse numbers, we get a number, and this number is also a multiple of 19. If we insert the total geometrical value of every verse, we get a number, and this number is a multiple of 19. The number shown above includes all parameters of Surah 1 and consists of 38 digits, which is a multiple of 19. It is noteworthy that this 38-digit number is still divisible by 19 when we write its components backward from right to left as practiced by the Arabs. Thus, we get a number which is also a multiple of 19. The mathematical representations mentioned above participate in numerous extraordinary mathematical phenomena to confirm all details of the 5 daily contact prayers. See appendix number 15. Many more astounding phenomena are given in appendix 1 that the reader is handed at the outset, tangible proof that this is God's message to the world. MashaAllah. Sorry for the anyways, so MashaAllah, as we see here in these footnotes, it represents a miraculous mathematical structure, that proves that the Surah 1, the Fatiha, is directly from God, and it confirms, the authority of the Quran. So as we saw that it also validates the 5 daily prayers and demonstrate as it demonstrated in the appendix number 15. And the complexity of this numerical system is beyond human ability, as we saw, and that's it's serving great evidence that the Quran is divine, is from God. I think I should stop here. Thank you for listening. If you have any question or comments, please feel free. Thank you.
MashaAllah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good study.
MashaAllah, good study.
Thank you.
MashaAllah. Thank
Ma-
you.
MashaAllah. Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
MashaAllah, a lot of good lessons for us, good reminders. Thank you for talking about them in detail, especially about the whispers from the devil. You know, the human devils and the jinn devils. I mean, there's obviously a reason for it because we're surrounded by these people, you know, all around us. We live in Satan's domain, and all around us there are all these jinns and humans that are constantly bombarding these satanic ideas at us, you know, and we have to swim against the current, so to speak. And so that's why it's important for us to memorize these surahs in Arabic, especially the last two surahs that we read, 113 and 114, because the messenger talks about the fact that they're mathematically composed. And you know, having these surahs mathematically composed, you know, they give us a specific um, formula of protection from all of these things, you know. And he says, I mean, these things, they work, you know, for us. So it's a blessing for us that, you know, these very powerful surahs are there in the Quran. You know, especially I love these last two chapters. You know, about all seeking refuge in God from all the evils around us. You know, I mean, obviously in this world, you know, it's full of just dangers and evil. You know, all around us, being in Satan's domain. I mean, living on Satan's domain. Obviously, you're gonna see there's evil stuff everywhere. So if we're not protected by God, if we're not in God's kingdom, you know, it really puts us in a position where we have to, you know, be scared otherwise, you know. But God is there for the believers, and you know, if we implore God and ask for His protection, you know, God will protect the believers through everything. Mashallah, we have the example from the Messenger of the Covenant, you know, who reciting the Psalms about 91, since it goes into more detail about how God's protection um, exactly, you know, like how specific is God's protection, you know, like He will not even allow your foot to hit against a stone, you know, if you're in God's kingdom and His protection. I mean, He'll have His angels remove the stone before it hits you, you know. Now, that could also be thought of as allegorical, you know, so it doesn't have to be a physical barrier in front of you that's or something that's going to hit you, but you know, any problems in life, you know, I mean, that are there, you know, God is there to protect us from all the evil scheming and all these other things that go on every day in this world, you know. I mean, sure, people will be unjust towards you in this world too, but you'll see that, you know, God will show you, you know, if you're alive, you know, what God will do to these people in your lifetime if you're alive, or if you're not alive, then, you know, He may not show you. But nevertheless, you know, everybody will be accounted for everything that they have done in this world. That we have these blessings from God to um, get His protection.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like what Sister Houda said. I never thought about it like that, but at the end of the Quran, like how the Quran ends, you know, because you know how like if you read a novel, I mean, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
comparing it to a novel, but just like when I thought of it like that, because you know how like the most kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
like the close or is like kind of the, I mean, like what's like really what's the last words and chapters and message that I
Mm-hmm.
mean, coming from a book from the Lord of the universe, like what would it be? And like we have it, but like actually thinking about it, yeah, it sheds importance too. And I mean, even uh, yeah, and then seeking refuge, you know, because yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be an ongoing debate with our companions, and I mean, even stuff like I had gone through, like seeking refuge, you know, like you had said, Surah 113 and 114 in Arabic, and I mean, even something not too long ago. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was like really, it was like my companion. It was like such a huge debate, but I don't. It came out of nowhere, but it was all. I don't even want to say it was like an admission test or something because I don't think companions have admission tests. But yeah, I was seeking refuge like for a whole week, you know, and it was like it. I guess it had to do with like with the free will and stuff, and then like I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but um, you know, I was like uh, I was transcribing audio 48, and I think there's like a really good one to listen to, like as to why our purpose, why we're here, and how we really are free creatures, and we have really have the chance to actually rebel. And but the only thing that saved me was like turning appreciative, because like points I think my companion was making, and I mean I'm sharing this, you know, it is very personal to be honest, but I'm sharing this in case anybody else, because I mean we're all brothers and sisters, and we're all in this together. I mean every single human being, even the humans listening, you know, who may not be submitters or who could be maybe submitters, God willing, or may become submitters. I mean, we're all in this test together, and like there's only like we're in deep trouble, and so to speak. But uh, but yeah, turning appreciative, like I was seeking refuge, and I just was getting reminded, like I started. I mean, it was really kind of intense for about a week here and there, and I would get these huge moments of like turning. I mean, it was pretty recent actually too, and it's a you know it's a real testament to how important
Mm-hmm.
I think these two servers are what we're talking, because these whispers.
Mm-hmm.
But like so after the fact, after like really thinking about you know the other alternative, like what would it be like without God? It would literally be hell. You know, like just on this earth, like because we aren't providing our food, we aren't providing like our air conditioner. All these humans, you know, like even you know people I grew up with, and I mean, you know, I can sense, and I've even gotten messages, not private, but messages from like some of the reactions, like to a recent video I put out. You know, like I think Brother Raphael shared in the group, and I put that on my own Facebook, where there's a lot of, I mean, may God guide us all, guide them, but a lot of idol worshiping, and you know, you're looking at all these people, and you're like, well, how come they don't believe in God alone? Like, why are they unappreciative? Why are they, you know, like this? That's how it kind of started, but it was really intense, and then, yeah, seeking refuge, and then, alhamdulillah, you know, like turning appreciative, and actually like visualizing and picturing other alternatives is would be hell, you know, because there's gonna come a time like where these people aren't going to be provided for. You know, they're not going to have any provisions. They're not. I mean, their very existence, like the very soul, or my very soul, even my jinn, my companion's soul. I mean, is completely reliant upon God. You know, like if we didn't have God, we wouldn't. I mean, it would be hell, like complete hell. Like even on this earth, you know, if it makes sense. Uh, I mean, that was just something that kind of happened recently, and thank God, like, cause it, I think pretty like it backfired, I guess, on Satan or whatever. Cause like now I'm like alhamdulillah, I don't know, I feel a little maybe I'll keep but I wanted to share this maybe for I mean people who are listening, or if it could help or encourage somebody of how important this is, because it's like being appreciative, like oh my gosh, like putting yourself in situations and of not having, and just how much we need God, and then that's like helped me just so much in these past couple of days. Like I've had more, I guess, peace, like peace than I had, like I guess more peace than what I've had before. But I mean, may God still help us all, you know, because it's
Did you say?
huh?
Did you say we're all brothers and sisters?
I mean, like for people who are listening, I mean, I know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Because
I,
when you said when you said we're all
no,
brothers and sisters, the signal dropped. You know. So when you said brothers and, I got cut off, and so it says we are all sisters.
oh, we're all.
That's funny.
Well, I mean, technically, in our chat, man, you know, you and your wife are here, alhamdulillah, but like
Yeah.
in a sense, like
Yeah. Of
everyone
course.
to me here,
Yeah.
brothers and
Mashallah.
sisters, and like that's the
Yeah.
real family, you know, and like we're here
Mashallah.
for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, really good reminders and stuff, because this is life. This is really, you know, it's eternal life or death, you know.
Mm-hmm.
MashaAllah. Thank you, Brother John, for sharing. Yeah, brother, and how you were saying,
Mashallah.
Brother Suleiman, inshallah. How you were saying, Brother Suleiman, it's important to remember these surahs in
Mm-hmm.
Arabic too, you know, because that's it's mathematically composed,
Mm-hmm.
so it's very important. Like I've tried my best to remember those specific surahs, like the ones seeking refuge in God, you know,
Mm-hmm.
from Satan and the whisperers, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like, and because of you um like it's even things that are not unseen, you know, like seeking refuge in God from the things we can see,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that could still be very um that could affect us, like in such a that could affect us like in such a big way, you know, like if we don't seek refuge in God, you know, it could, it's a very scary what I'm trying to say, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's things that you cannot see, you know, and very and it's in the Quran, you know. Quran, talks about um seeking protection from the from the sneaky whisperers whisper into the chest of the people, be they of the jinns or the people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So like that tells you like how um bad people's schemes could be, you know, like things that we cannot see, that only like probably, you know, like in physical situations you could see, you know, like and probably um Like we know God is running everything, but like you could probably do something about it, you know. But what about the things you can't see? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like things you can't, you know. Um, that's why subhanallah, you know, God protect us from the physical things and also from the things that we can't see, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, mashallah, I mean, it's amazing how, I mean, like we're in a creation and reality that, I mean, we, like as submitters, we believe in it, but like most people, if you tell them, like, you actually have like another, I guess we can call a creature inside, like, I mean, our companion is the right term. But you know, I guess I said creature because we are all creatures in the beginning before we got assigned. But like you have a companion in you who's a separate entity, so to speak. And most people are just gonna be like, "No way! Like, what do you mean?" You know. But it's. I mean, God be glorified that He can even do something like that. Like, I mean, like, how do you even create something? Like, how do you even build? I mean, we know Him. He's the designer, the initiator. I mean, this is what I think really makes God so. This is what, like the verse says, we can't fathom the greatness of God. You know, we can never fathom, no matter how hard you try. And you know, just thinking about galaxies and stuff. Like he's aware of stuff that's happening, like on Andromeda, like the atoms in a specific star on Andromeda, and then he's also aware of like the fish that Suleiman just shared the other day, like the atoms in those fish. Like he's aware, and like the distance between those is like you can't even probably put how many. I mean, there's so many light years between those two, and that's just he's aware of every atom in those and everything around. I mean, it's really like incredible, like so incredible, and I understand now what the messenger meant by like how the human being is he called him stupid, you know, like it really like to be unappreciative, you know, um, like how we were all transgressing and stupid for even coming here, and maybe I mean we don't recall that, but maybe perhaps we weren't appreciative of God's greatness, maybe in the high society. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. God forgive me, but I mean, but it's interesting too. I don't know if maybe our jinns have to need some convincing themselves. Like, and then, I mean, even though it could be a strain on us. I mean, they're obviously sneaky whisperers, but at the end, God willing, they might need more convincing. Like they might be ahead, and like the messenger said, but then something maybe they still aren't. Or maybe they're behind. That could be another case. You know, maybe they could be behind us. You know, they could be ahead of us, like in our submission, like the messenger said. But if they're behind us, they obviously probably need to be caught up. So I think sometimes stuff like that can happen, and yeah, and then seeking refuge in our Creator, because then He'll inspire us or He'll give us reasons to like the best, most logical reasons to debate with a jinn, to be appreciative, to know that no one's doing anything, and like we wouldn't want it any other way. Because I mean, like if somebody else were to try to, let's say a human were to try to control just a city, I mean, it would become, we can see the evidence around us how messed up cities are just because of a few humans. And I mean, this example with Satan too, he's he can't do it, you know? And like, if he can't do it, we can't do it. Why would we even want to worship ourselves? Why would we worship our ego? You know, we're really helpless little creatures. Like we're fallible, helpless little creatures that, uh, you know, or need God so much, you know. I mean, just you know, um, but mashallah, it's very good verses and uh, uh, stuff. Today.
MashaAllah, yeah, brother.
Mashallah. Yeah, also, I mean, going to Surah 1, it's such an amazing gift for us from God, to be able to establish contact with Him 5 times a day. And whenever we need His strong support for us to recite Al Fatiha, to bless our affairs with His guidance and with His support. This gift that God has given us. I mean, so powerful and so profound. Especially when you look at the mathematical code behind just the Al Fatiha itself. I mean, it is so mind blowing, completely, mind blowing, and shows to us God's omnipotence and how He is in full control of everything. MashaAllah.
Yeah, and, it's amazing too. I think like these things. I think we've been looking at further proofs
Mm-hmm.
have given me an even better understanding and more of an appreciation for the Quran's mathematical miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when I'm going back, like when I read the footnote, I think to Surah Sheba, Saba, or I think Surah 34, and then looking at like the messengers proofs and stuff, and then like you had just said, and then you had done a PowerPoint, brother, that sermon of that
Mm-hmm.
enormous number, which was a multiple of 19. I mean, alhamdulillah, that's not coincidence. Like there's just so many. Everything is perfect. Like it's all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 19. Why 19? I mean, that's a great thing to look at too. But it's such a huge blessing, really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, yeah, I mean, that would have been good. Maybe God's running everything, but I mean, not even that sermon. I was just about to say, like, to send that as a proof for, a relative of mine that, I mean, I think you know who I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
um, but,
Mm-hmm.
but God's running everything. I mean, I think, yeah, if they weren't convinced on the other stuff, that wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
been enough. Yeah, mashallah, real blessing to have like reassurance, like reassurance to know this is from God. You know?
MashaAllah.
Yeah, mashallah. you know, uh, guiding. I heard the messenger. I think he had, maybe it was during Night of Destiny. I mean, the whole Bismillah or Al-Fatah is awesome, man, and so important. But I think he had also stressed on the you alone we worship, you alone we ask for help. So because um, yeah, that's very because I mean it also means just because like we ask for help or we get help from somebody else, like a coworker helps us or does something for us or whatnot. It's not or if we even go ask him for it to do, I mean, it's really God that's helping us. Because like Messenger said, I mean, in the Quran, it's in the Quran too. God's controlling everything. He's controlling them too, because they fall under everything. I mean, even the little pigeons and stuff. I'm looking at that. They're like being controlled. I mean, they fall under everything. I mean, yeah, but I had to throw that in. I'm making Raphael hungry.
Talking about pigeons.
What pigeons?
No, I'm just kidding.
Pigeon soup.
Yeah, some dove soup. What's up?
Oh,
Yeah, mashallah. Like you alone, we ask for help. That's something that also, I guess, it kind of lets us know too. It lets us know that we need help. Like in the sense, like we're gonna be tested, and we can't do these tests by ourselves. Like our admission test, I think it's important. I mean, I've done for myself. Like that's one of the things I've asked probably more help with. I mean with many things, but and then um, like we can, because in a sense, like just because we're asking for help doesn't mean like we don't have faith, but like or like we're asking to be more appreciative. I know I've said this before, but it's helpful. Like at least I mean, from what I've noticed, is to increase our appreciativeness, or and ask for help through our tests, because yeah, only God can help us through our tests, and and that's all that really matters too, is God, not these worldly things, because even whether good or bad, I've realized like we're all gonna, it's all just temporary. That helps me keep, like personally, that helps me keep, or gives me like, if whispers start to come, like immediately it gives me relief and peace. Like none of this matters in the sense like it's all an illusion, and what matters is like our main objective. Every human being, kind of like the messenger. It's really good in Audio 48. I translated. I was able to do the first 8 minutes recently, but it's such a good listen, because it's like I'm
So that's
talking.
good. You started doing it again.
Yeah, brother, that program Aegis you sent me, that's like it literally makes everything. I'm not exaggerating, like 5 times as fast. So
Uh.
I can do probably a whole audio within a day. Where previously an audio would take me 4 to 5 days. Because I mean, 10 minutes could take me 3 hours because of how slow YouTube was. It was just hard. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a blessing, because and that's a good example. Like, remember when it crashed and I texted you, and like I wanted to object at first because I lost 6 minutes, which took me about two
Oh.
and a half hours. But then I was like, no, no, and then like I was like decided like to message you, and I was like, oh, like any suggestions, but like I was okay, I was like, this is just a test, and then look what came of it. I mean, if that wouldn't have happened, I would have been stuck on YouTube translating slowly and suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. For me too. Like I did a whole audio, and I when I was done, I lost all timing information. From there, so
Wow,
it
yeah,
was all
that's
jumbled. Yeah.
the whole audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I only had 6 minutes invested, which was much. Oh, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a blessing came out of it, because like I was thinking in the
Mhm.
moment, how could this be a good thing? Maybe Satan made it crash, but then it's like,
Mhm.
like even if it wasn't, it backfired because now more is translated and like I'm way more
Mhm.
motivated because of how fast it's going.
Inshallah.
Mashallah. That's why like Surah 42 consultation, like
Mhm.
we consult, I got
Yeah.
Suleiman's advice like with various things, and this was one of them. Um, Aegis, I think is it called. But yeah, these are blessings, they're making everything easier. Mashallah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, maybe Brother Raphael can help too.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he wasn't around when we
yeah,
started, right?
right. Yeah, I can give you some of the audios, probably some of the easier sounding ones too, inshallah. It's kind of fun, brother. You learn new stuff while you're doing it too.
Yeah, inshallah, brother. I'm not
Yes,
going to say no.
yeah, yeah. Because I think we had started last Ramadan. We had it set up, but
Yeah, also I found it interesting that it says read Appendix 1 and 29. The one about the missing Bismillah, the fact that they added in 29. Because it has a lot of proofs about the mathematical miracle. I guess it's not that significant in that relationship of 29, but just my ears are sensitive to number 29. Too
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, that's awesome. Alhamdulillah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the proofs that have come out so far, I mean, have just been
Mhm.
such a blessing.
Amazing.
Uh, it's actually, like I said, like it's been really beneficial for me appreciating other parts of like the Quran's mathematical miracle and actually kind of getting, uh, I guess, a little faster at like looking at, let's say, an appendix and then
Mhm.
looking at what's being presented and just be like, oh man, that's like amazing,
Mhm.
like all this that's like it's like a really nice thing too that came out of this.
Mhm.
Mashallah.
Yeah, and especially all the stuff we got about numerology and stuff, like made us appreciate this more.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God.
All right, so I guess if there are no other comments or questions, God willing, we can conclude our study. So thank you all for joining us. God willing, our next English Quran study would be on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. And God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you. Assalamu alaikum.